talks about education, when you talks about the, 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 the establishment of schools and so on and so forth, one also will ask the enrollment. When you build schools, what is the enrollment? Because there are many people who want to send their kids to school before 94, but they don't have the opportunity to, because there was no school. But now these schools have been built by the revolution, and you look at the enrollment in those schools. In the lower basic school before 1994, the 400 years of colonial rule and the 32 years of the former regime. Before 1994, enrollment at the lower basic school, you have 105,471 schools throughout the country. And then after 1994, the enrollment for lower basic, 190,110.
Wow.
On upper basic school, before 1994, you have 17,899 people who were in school at the upper basic. But after the 1994 revolution, because the education is accessible and is into every hamlet in this country. Now, every 3 kilometers you go to, you'll get an upper basic or senior secondary schools in this country. Upper basic, you have 70,729 people as of 2011. Senior secondary school, 35,131. Every year reaches at grade 12 as of 2011. The total number of enrollment as of 2011 in the schools, 295,970, with a difference of 163,379 compared to the former regime. An increase in percentage of 123.2%. Scholarship. When you talk about education, and we all know the majority of the Gambians are poor. Of course, President Jammeh brought the revolution, brought sanity into the education sector. The revolution brought education into the doorsteps of every Gambian. But education, you need teachers. It's expensive. You need to send in your kids to schools. And can you afford to pay? Most of them are farmers. They couldn't. And then the revolution brought in scholarship to ensure every individual have equal access to education, irrespective of the poverty or your background. If you don't have money, but you are assured that there is scholarship. Before 1994, the 400 rule of the British and the 32 years of the former regime, grade 7 to grade 12, there was only single scholarships on girls or in school. But after the 1994, you go to grade 7, 2011, 39,608 on the grade 7 are on scholarship. 39,608 upper basic school students, grade 7 girls, are on scholarship by the President Jammeh and revolution, by the revolution. Grade 8, 35,803. Grade 9, 28,614. Grade 10, 16,622. Grade 11, 10,915. And grade 12, 6,318. A total of 137,880 people as of 2011 are on scholarship. There's free education for girls throughout the land and breadth of the country, the rural areas. Now, schools are built. In those days, because of the parents would prefer probably, if you have a family, you have children, you have about 5 boys, you have 6 girls, you prefer to send 1 or 2 boys to school and the girls none, because you can't pay their school fees. Now, then you compare it. In fact, it's because of lack of schools and lack of scholarships. That's why the rate of drop out of schools, early marriages, and so on and so forth were rampant. Because parents know they cannot pay. Now, the share of enrollment for girls, July 22nd, 1994, that was during the 32 years, there were 42.1% on lower basic school girls who have access to education. After the 1994, there is this parity rate, 50.6% to 49.4%, that is enrolled boys and girls. meaning that now in most cases you have more girls in school, more girls in school than boys. Why? Because President Jammeh's education, free education for girls. Parents, everybody is convinced, even if you have 10 girls, they can all go to school and paid for by government, the revolution. The upper basic school, the enrollment was 37.3%. But after 1994, 50.9%, still at the upper basic school. Meaning that the revolution in the area of education, before 1994, girls were not prioritized, were not given the opportunity to have access to education. And that President Jammeh believes in the ideology. If you educate a woman, you educate the whole nation. That's the reason why. Then you go to the senior secondary schools, 29% of Gambian girls have access to senior secondary school before 1994 revolution came into effect. And after 1994, 47.3, we are almost 50-50 at par. Why? Because they are also the free education. Now, for those of us who witnessed the colonial era and school life in the First Republic, had a tough and a great challenge, ranging from paying school fees for your children, that's for your wards, either boys or girls, provisions of whatever materials they need because they are in books available, and also chairs and desks for your children. You have to provide it for them, to carry them to school, to be able to sit and learn. Meaning that before 1994, the education sector, it wasn't conducive. You don't even have a place to sit. Do you go there and stand for 8 hours, 9 hours to learn? No. President Jammeh said, never. And his dead body, that will never happen. And in 1994, that ceased to exist. You see a share of chairs before July 1994, before the revolution. About 56, only 56% had access to chairs, and they said the rest they have to bring in. And chairs of desks, it was 48%. 1994, chairs, 100%. Nobody goes to school with chair, and nobody goes to school with desk. That is the comparative between the revolution and before the revolution. Madam, I'm sorry, I'm taking a lot of your time.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's interesting.
You see, Gambia is a Muslim country, and the advent of the revolutions brought a lot of development and recognized the importance of madrasa and the importance of Quranic education in this country. Before 1994, you look at the lower basics, the upper basics, senior, secondary, and total of enrollment for madrasas was 0. And as we speak, as of 2011, as of December 2011, 59,317 children have access to formal madrasas, schools in this country, compared to 0 before 1994. Therefore, looking at 1994 and before 1994, after 1994, this revolution attaches great importance to Quranic educations and encouraging people and building schools for it to be formally. In addition to having Islamic subjects in every schools in this country, from kindergarten to the University of the Gambia. Low basic school, we have 48,466 going to madrasas. Upper basic school, 88,172. Senior secondary schools, 2,679 are going to madrasas. Binta, there are a lot of things that we could compare between 1994 and before 1994. But yeah.
For now, I think that's an interesting one because, like you rightly mentioned, the difference is very huge. But I think I have to move on to Mr. Gay.
Yes, so when we come back, we look at even not only mentioning the figures, but we have all the schools built across the northern bit of the country.
Okay, maybe we'll get the total of them. Babu Gay, mbadingol kal hakilo bulandi ko mbenna bantaba forum li nyina kono national bantaba forum ko ngafo nyami yirwa kuol nin kata kuol men yalon ko iketa banko kanjang janni 94 kata 94 fombe bi sango nyina sango men kono Babu Gay ngamira isa fono badingol ye kanunto anin saying nge jibe abatembe